Battle Through the Heavens Season 5 Episode 116. I didn't expect Xiao Yixian and Xun Er to be at odds with each other at first sight. One side is his best friend, the other is his girlfriend. How should Xiao Yan choose in this situation? Let's continue the story from the last time. With the help of Xun Er, Xiao Yan finally defeated the people from the Ice River Valley and the Soul Palace. However, just as he was about to catch his breath, he was shocked to find that his little girlfriend and his good friend were looking directly at each other. Out of a man's intuition, Xiao Yan felt that something big was going to happen. So he hurried forward and introduced each other. Looking at the two jade hands clasped together, the smile on Xiao Yan's face had just surfaced when he suddenly stepped back. Because he found that between the two of them, the gray airflow and the golden flame were quietly colliding. "What are you doing?" However, just as Xiao Yan was about to step forward, the hands that were about to stop the two of them were withdrawn as soon as they touched, and the gray airflow and the golden flame dissipated quickly. After taking a step back, Xun Er smiled at Xiao Yixian. "Long before I came here, I heard that Sister Xiao Yixian's poison is very powerful. Now that I've met you, you really live up to your reputation. But during this time, thank you for taking care of Brother Xiao Yan. I've also heard Xiao Yan mention you many times. Now that I see you, you are indeed a proud girl. No wonder he misses you so much." Although Xun Er's words seemed very affectionate, Xiao Yan felt that things might not be that simple. He smiled bitterly in his heart. After all, both of them have something to be proud of. One is born with a poisonous body, the other possesses the bloodline of an ancient clan. Now that they met, they seem to be at odds with each other. Could it be that this is the antagonism between excellent women? Okay, that's it for now. Everyone, take a rest first. This is not the place to talk. Then Xiao Yan and the others were led by Ye Zhong to the Ye family's meeting hall. And all the members of the Yi family present had a respectful look on their faces. After all, even a powerful force like the Ice River Valley was in a state of panic in front of him. This showed how powerful he was. At the same time, Xiao Yan's tense body finally relaxed. Feeling the faint tingling pain in his body, he couldn't help but frown. It seems that the after effects of the 3 mysterious transformations of heavenly fire are really not small. If he wasn't strong enough, he would have been lying on the ground, unable to get up. "Brother Xiao Yan, what are your plans next?" "I'm going to rescue my teacher from the Soul Palace. After what happened today, the Soul Palace will definitely be on guard against you. They will even transfer Master Yao Chen from the prison. If you go there rashly, you will only be throwing yourself into a trap." Moreover, according to Xun Er, even their ancient clan couldn't hurt the Soul Palace even if they fought against it. And after today's battle, Xiao Yan had basically exposed all the forces around him. With the Soul Palace's intelligence channels, they would soon find out. If Xiao Yan really went there rashly, he might not be able to save Master Yao Lao, and he might even get himself and his companions killed. But now, his teacher would suffer another day in the Soul Palace. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan felt as if his heart was being cut by a knife. Seeing him like this, Xun Er also sighed. She mentioned that the Soul Palace would not easily kill Master Yao Lao, and when she returned, she would immediately use the power of the Gu clan to find out where Master Yao Chen was being held. If there was any news, she would send someone to inform him. Hearing this, Xiao Yan nodded slightly. Since now was not the best time to rescue Master Yao Lao, he planned to prepare for the pill gathering. As long as he got his hands on the 3,000 burning flames, his strength would definitely explode. By then, even if he faced a strong person like Bing He, he would definitely have the strength to fight. At that time, he would secretly gather people and rescue Master Yao Lao from the Soul Palace. As for his father, Xiao Zhan, he had completely disappeared since he went missing. If it wasn't for the fact that the soul light spot in the 2 Shi, ancient gods' jade still existed, Xiao Yan would have suspected that Xiao Zhan had already been killed by the Soul Palace. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan's eyes darkened. Whether it was rescuing Master Yao Lao or his father, it was all based on the premise that he had enough strength. So he had to get his hands on the 3,000 burning flames. Next, Xiao Yan went to a guest room in the Yi family alone and gradually entered a state of cultivation. Although he wasn't seriously injured, his do qi was almost exhausted. And the heavenly fire, 3 mysterious transformations domineering energy, also caused some damage to his body. If his body wasn't strong enough, some of his meridians would have been torn apart. Feeling the do qi gradually filling his body, Xiao Yan also heaved a sigh of relief. After today's battle, he had a clear understanding of his own strength. If Xun Er hadn't arrived in time today, then Xiao Yan and the others wouldn't have ended up well. But if he had the strength to not fear Binghe, the valley master of the Ice River Valley, then he would have been able to completely rely on himself to resolve this situation, instead of waiting for others to help him. Xun Er could save him once or twice, but what about 3 or 4 times? As for the Gu clan, Xiao Yan was also quite wary of them. If one day they turned hostile and forcibly took the 2 Shi, ancient gods' jade from him, Xun Er would definitely be caught between love and family. At that time, no matter who won or lost, it would be painful for him, and that was not what Xiao Yan wanted to see. Thinking of this, Xiao Yan couldn't help but clench his fists. It seems that family, love, and all these things need enough strength to protect. Next, he planned to wait until his injuries were healed, and then solve the problem of the demonic poison. If he completely refined this thing, Xiao Yan believed he would at least reach the level of a 4-star dozong. This thing had been in his body for so many years. It was time to get rid of it completely. Just as Xiao Yan made up his mind, and was about to enter a state of cultivation again, Xun Er pushed the door open and entered. Looking at the elegant and beautiful girl in front of him, Xiao Yan felt a surge of warmth in his heart. After the 2 of them had been intimate for a while, Xun Er handed Xiao Yan a golden scroll, which contained the cultivation method for the remaining 3 seals of the Earth Imperial Seal. She told him not to underestimate the scroll, as it wasn't an ordinary technique. In a place filled with strong people, having more life-saving means was important, and since she couldn't stay with him forever, he couldn't refuse to accept the Earth Imperial Seal. Looking at the golden scroll, Xiao Yan felt a mix of surprise and helplessness. This girl always seemed eager to give him her things, but Xiao Yan didn't want to appear overly pretentious, especially since he was interested in the Earth Imperial Seal. The Mountain Seal and the Boundless Sea Seal had been powerful killing moves when he was at the Dowang and Dohuang levels, but now that he had reached the Dozong level, they were no longer sufficient. To increase their power, he naturally needed the cultivation method for the remaining seals. As Xiao Yan put away the scroll, a smile appeared on Xun Er's face. Suddenly remembering something, she looked at him seriously and asked, "Brother Xiao Yan, no one else knows about the 2 Shi ancient gods' jade being with you, right?" Xiao Yan nodded slightly, knowing how important it was, and daring not to tell anyone easily, not even Xiao Yixian or Venerable Tianhuo. According to Xun Er, the jade had been left behind by the last Dodi in the Doqi continent, and it was said that this person also left behind a Dodi mansion hidden in the void. The 2 Shi ancient gods' jade was the key to unlocking the Dodi mansion. But there were 8 pieces of this jade in total, held by the Gu clan and the other 7 ancient clans. Only by gathering all 8 pieces could the Dodi mansion be opened. What shocked Xiao Yan most was discovering that his Xiao clan was actually one of the 8 ancient clans. I didn't expect Xiao Yixian to have been by Xiao Yan's side through life and death for so many years, but she remained only a good friend. Meanwhile, Yeshinlin, whom he had met not long ago, had actually become his fiancée. Back to the story, shortly after Xun Er and Xiao Yan met in Donghua, they had to return to the valley for personal reasons. However, when Ling Quan came to pick them up, Xiao Yan was also at the Ye family. Ling Quan insisted on taking her back, but after a few rounds of confrontation, it became clear that he was no match for Xiao Yan, and ended up with his throat locked by Xiao Yan. If Xiao Yan exerted even a little force, Ling Quan would have been killed on the spot. At this moment, fear finally appeared in Ling Quan's eyes, because he realized that Xiao Yan had not used any fighting skills at all. It was sheer contempt. Only now did he understand that Xiao Yan was no longer the young man from the inner courtyard. Without showing any mercy, Xiao Yan threw him hard against a stone pillar. Ling Quan, after suffering such a heavy blow, spit out blood, but Xiao Yan still spared his life, only because he didn't want to cause unnecessary trouble for Xun Er. Otherwise, Ling Quan wouldn't have left the scene alive. The Black Shadow Army quickly carried Ling Quan, now beaten into a vegetative state, away. As for the Elder's order, they dared not disobey, especially with Xun Er present, and knew better than to act rashly. After dealing with the matter, Xiao Yan reluctantly turned to Xun Er and said, "I'm leaving now." Xun Er nodded slightly, knowing the urgency of the situation. Ling Quan and others had already chased after them, and staying any longer would have attracted more trouble. Xiao Yan knew Xun Er had a reason for leaving in such haste, and said, "Wait for me at the ancient clan. After I participate in the pill gathering and rescue my teacher, I will come to find you." Xun Er and her group then flew into the sky, and as they gradually moved away, Xiao Yan clenched his fists, determined. "Xun Er is waiting for me at the ancient clan. Next time we meet, I will show them the strength that will make the ancient clan members admire me. I want them to know that Xiaojia is not a failure." After bidding farewell to Xun Er, Xiao Yan asked Ye Zhong about the pill gathering. He knew he had to improve his strength as soon as possible, and obtaining the 3,000 burning flames was now a priority. According to Ye Zhong, there were still 7 months left until the pill gathering selection in Shengdan City, and most participants would arrive 2 to 3 months in advance to prepare for the 3-level assessment: Heaven, Earth, and Human. Only those who passed the Heaven level screening were eligible for the final competition. This meant Xiao Yan had 2.5 months to prepare, and he knew he had to focus on practicing alchemy in the coming months. Although confident, he understood that the pill gathering would attract outstanding alchemists from all over the central province and the entire continent, making it a much bigger challenge than the Jiama Empire's Alchemist Conference. After setting his mind on it, Xiao Yan also inquired about the qualifications to enter the Elder's seat of the Pill Tower. After all, he had personally promised Xinlan that he would help the Yi family return to the Elder's seat, and both Ye Zhong and Xinlan were visibly excited. According to Ye Zhong, the Pill Tower tests the younger generation of their 5 families every year, with the minimum requirement for the assessment being a rank 6 alchemist. To pass, one must reach rank 7. However, Ye family's most talented junior, Xinlan, had only just reached rank 5. Seeing Ye Zhong's gaze, Xinlan's face was filled with shame. If the Yi family failed to pass this time, they would not only lose their qualification to enter the Elder's seat of the Pill Tower, but would also be squeezed out of the 5 great families. The worst part was that, because they had failed twice before, only those who ranked in the top 3 would be considered qualified this time. Xiao Yan shook his head, noticing the Ye family's decline. While other families could send out their elite talents to pass the assessment, the Ye family couldn't even meet the basic standard. It was miserable for a family that once belonged to the 5 great families. Xiao Yan, however, wasn't too emotionally affected by the difficulty of the assessment. He was curious, though, and asked if the Pill Tower allowed external aid. Ye Zhong explained that it did not, but there were other ways, though he hesitated, fearing it might wrong Xiao Yan. When pressed, Ye Zhong revealed that they might have to claim Xiao Yan as the Ye family's future son-in-law to improve their standing. Xiao Yan was initially displeased by the idea, saying that while it didn't bother him, it would make it hard for the woman involved to face others in the future. Ye Zhong reassured him that it was just a formal title and that no responsibility would be imposed on Xiao Yan. Faced with Ye Zhong's pleading, Xiao Yan sighed helplessly, realizing that Ye Zhong had no other options left. If he left now, the Ye family might be reduced to an ordinary family in the future. As Xiao Yan pondered the situation, Xinlan suddenly knelt before him, pleading for him to help the Ye family, even offering to become his servant if necessary. Taken aback, Xiao Yan quickly helped her up, but as soon as she stood, she knelt again. Xiao Yixian, watching from the side, shook her head and remarked that Xiao Yan was not someone who would go back on his promises, so there was no need for such actions. Xiao Yan sighed and agreed to help, warning them not to try to trap him with the son-in-law trick, or he wouldn't hesitate to retaliate. Yezhong reassured him that there would be no tricks, and Xiao Yixian also sighed in relief. At this point, Xiao Yan noticed Xinlan's slightly unnatural expression and began to wonder if she was the one Yezhong referred to in his son-in-law suggestion. This thought made Xiao Yan tense up, but Xinlan reassured him that it was merely a formality. She knew Xiao Yan would become a top figure in the Doqi continent and was not foolish enough to think she could tie him down. Hearing her words, Xiao Yan felt a little embarrassed. Xinlan had been a great help to him, providing key information about the 3,000 burning flames and assisting him without complaint since they arrived in Pil Imperial City. Xiao Yan had come to regard her as a friend. He decided to follow Elder Yezhong's request and cooperate as much as he could. Her delicate face looked somewhat unnatural at that moment. Could it be that the woman everyone spoke of that night was Xinlan? Hearing this, Xiao Yan's body stiffened. Xuanji forced a bitter smile, thinking, this old guy can't be that cruel. Big brother Xiao Yan, don't worry, Xinlan said gently. Grandpa also mentioned that this is just a formality. In the future, you will surely be one of the top figures on the Doqi continent. I'm not an arrogant girl who doesn't know her limits. Upon hearing this, Xiao Yan felt a bit embarrassed. After all, if it weren't for Xinlan informing him about the 3,000 burning flames, he would likely still be wandering around aimlessly. Ever since he arrived at Danyu, Xinlan had been following him and helping out without uttering a single complaint. All the things she had done were enough for Xiao Yan to treat her as a friend. Sigh, let's leave this matter to Elder Yezhong, Xiao Yan finally said. I will do my best to cooperate.